Captain Jeho Park stood at the large window of his ship, the Eternal Dawn. The stars shone brightly against the dark space. His tall, strong figure cast a shadow on the polished floor. As the leader of the Mukan Imperial Fleet's most powerful ship, he felt proud of his position. The Mukans were different from other aliens in the galaxy. They came from a planet where everything was harder, stronger, and more dangerous. Their home planet had twice the gravity of most worlds. This made them stronger than any other species they had met. Jeho walked across the bridge of his ship. His heavy footsteps made soft thuds on the metal floor. The other crew members stood straight as he passed. They all shared the same features: thick muscles, dense bones, and tough skin that could resist extreme heat and cold. These traits helped their ancestors survive on their harsh home planet. "Captain, we are approaching the Stellar Council meeting point," said Officer Hei Yunli from her station. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel. Even though she looked delicate compared to male Mukans, she was still stronger than most other alien species. Jeho nodded. "Good. Prepare the ship for docking." He looked at the large space station ahead. It was where representatives from different alien species met to discuss galaxy matters. The Mukans had built it with special gravity controls. This helped the weaker species move around without getting hurt. "It's almost funny," said Security Chief Tu Yun Kim, standing next to Jeho. "We have to make everything easier for them. They're like small children who need protection." Jeho understood what Tu Yun meant. The Mukans had found many intelligent species in space, but all of them came from peaceful, gentle worlds. None of them had evolved on a planet as harsh as the Mukan homeworld. This made the Mukans feel responsible for protecting these weaker species. The Eternal Dawn moved slowly toward the space station. Its huge size showed the power of the Mukan Empire. The ship was 10 kilometers long and had weapons that could destroy small moons. But the Mukans rarely used these weapons. They preferred to help and protect other species instead of fighting them. "Captain, incoming message from the Council," Hei Yun reported. "They want to discuss the situation in the Outer Rim. Some colonies there need help with pirates." Jeho smiled slightly. This was the Mukans' role in the galaxy: to be the strong protectors. Their ships patrolled space, keeping pirates away from weaker species colonies. They helped during natural disasters where other species couldn't survive. They were the guardians of those who couldn't protect themselves. "Tell them we'll be there soon," Jeho said. He turned to look at his crew. They were the best of the Mukan fleet. Each one had trained hard to control their great strength. They had learned to be gentle with the delicate technology that other species used. As the ship docked with the station, Jeho thought about his people's place in the galaxy. The Mukans had never met another species that could match their physical abilities. Some species were smarter in certain ways. Others had better technology. But none had the raw strength and toughness that came from evolving on a death world. "Docking complete, Captain," Hei Yun announced. "The station has adjusted its gravity to our comfort level." Jeho straightened his uniform. Another day of watching over the galaxy was beginning. The Mukans were the strongest species known in space. This was both their pride and their duty. They would continue to protect the weaker species, just as they had done for the past 100 years. Little did Jeho know that this normal day would soon become very different. The galaxy was about to show him that his people weren't as unique as they thought. But for now, he walked confidently toward the station's meeting hall, ready to do his duty as a protector of the galaxy. Science Officer Hei Yunli was checking the ship's sensors when something unusual appeared on her screen. A ship had just entered Mukan space, but its readings made no sense. She checked the numbers 3 times to be sure. "Captain Jeho," she called out, her voice steady but urgent. "You need to see this." The captain walked to her station, his steps heavy in the ship's strong gravity. He looked at the screen, and his eyes widened. The unknown ship was coming from a direction where no known civilizations existed. "What can you tell me about the ship?" Jeho asked, studying the strange readings. Hei Yun adjusted some controls. It's smaller than our ship, about 1 kilometer long. But the interesting part is its home world data. She pointed to some numbers on the screen. According to these readings, this ship comes from a planet with even harsher conditions than our home world. The bridge grew quiet. Everyone had thought this was impossible. No intelligent life could evolve in conditions more extreme than the Mukan homeworld. At least, that's what they had always believed. "Open a communication channel," Jai-Ho ordered. The crew waited as Hei-Yun sent out the standard greeting message in multiple formats. After a few minutes, the main screen lit up. The image showed a command center similar to their own, but what they saw there surprised them all. The aliens looked much smaller and less muscular than Mukans. They had less protective skin and no apparent natural armor. They looked almost fragile. A figure in what seemed to be a uniform stepped forward on the screen. "This is Commander Emily Martinez of the Earth Ship Pioneer. We come in peace and request permission to establish diplomatic contact." The universal translator worked well, but something seemed odd. These beings looked too delicate to come from a harsh world, yet they moved easily in their ship, which the sensors showed had gravity similar to the Mukan standard. "I am Captain Jai-Ho Park of the Mukan Imperial Fleet," Jai-Ho responded. "Your ship's readings suggest you come from a high-gravity world, yet your appearance—" He paused, not wanting to seem rude. Commander Martinez smiled. "You're wondering how we can survive in these conditions." She gestured around her bridge. "Humans are quite adaptable. Our home world, Earth, has areas ranging from burning deserts to frozen wastelands. We evolved to survive in all of them." Security Chief Du-Young Kim moved closer to Jai-Ho. "Captain, their ship's hull. It's designed to withstand radiation levels that would kill even us," he whispered. Jai-Ho looked at the technical readings more carefully. The human ship was indeed built to survive conditions that would be deadly to most species, including Mukans. Yet these humans moved and acted as if such dangers were normal. "We would be honored to meet in person," Jai-Ho said. "Our nearest station can adjust its environment to suit your needs." Commander Martinez nodded. "Actually, we can adapt to your standard settings. Humans are quite comfortable in a wide range of conditions." This statement surprised the Mukan crew even more. No other species could handle their environmental settings without special equipment. Even their closest allies needed protective suits to visit Mukan ships. As they made arrangements for the meeting, Jai-Ho watched the humans on the screen with growing curiosity. These beings didn't look impressive or strong. They had no thick armor-like skin, no visible adaptations for harsh conditions. Yet everything about their ship and their casual attitude toward extreme conditions suggested they were far tougher than they appeared. "Prepare the main meeting room," Jai-Ho ordered, "and inform the Imperial Council. I think we're about to learn something very important about our place in the galaxy." The Eternal Dawn adjusted its course to guide the human ship to the nearest station. Both crews prepared for a meeting that would change their understanding of life in the universe. The Mukans were about to discover that strength could come in many different forms. The meeting room on the Mukan space station felt tense with anticipation. Captain Jai-Ho Park watched as the human delegation walked through the door. He had expected them to move slowly or show signs of strain in the high gravity. Instead, they walked normally, as if the harsh conditions didn't bother them at all. Commander Emily Martinez led her team with confident steps. Behind her came their science officer and 2 other crew members. They wore simple uniforms without any protective gear. This surprised Security Chief Du-Young Kim, who stood near the door watching carefully. "Welcome to Station Alpha 7, Jai-Ho said, bowing slightly in greeting. "We are honored to host Earth's first representatives in this part of space." Emily returned the bow. "Thank you for your welcome, Captain. We're excited to learn more about the Mukan Empire. Your achievements in space exploration are impressive." The 2 groups sat down at the large meeting table. Hei-Yun noticed how the humans examined everything with careful interest. Their eyes moved quickly, taking in details that most alien visitors missed. "I must ask," Jai-Ho started, "how are you managing in our gravity?" Most species find it very difficult. Emily smiled. Earth has different gravity levels in different places. We're used to adapting. Some parts of our training take place in much stronger gravity than this. Du Yun stepped forward. That seems unlikely. Our records show that no known species can train in stronger gravity than Mukun's standard. Would you like to see? Emily asked. She stood up and walked to a clear area of the room. Then, to everyone's surprise, she started doing exercises, push-ups, jumps, and other movements that should have been impossible in such strong gravity. The Mukuns watched in amazement. Hei-Yun quickly took readings with her scanner. Captain, her muscle density is changing as she moves. Their bodies can adapt almost instantly to different conditions. Jai-Ho leaned forward with interest. Tell us more about Earth. What kind of world creates such adaptability? Emily sat back down and began to explain. Earth is what we call a mosaic world. We have frozen poles and hot equators, dry deserts and deep oceans, high mountains and low valleys. Our people learn to live in all these places. But surely you need special equipment? Hei-Yun asked. Protection from extreme temperatures or dangerous conditions. One of the human science officers shook his head. We use equipment to make things easier, but humans can survive in amazing conditions if we need to. Our bodies heal quickly, and we can adapt to almost any environment over time. Du Yun looked troubled. Yet you don't look like warriors or survivors of a harsh world. Your bodies seem fragile. Emily laughed softly. Appearances can be deceiving. Humans don't need thick armor or huge muscles. We survive through endurance and adaptability. Our ancestors could chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion, even in burning heat. The meeting continued for several hours. The Mukuns learned about Earth's many different cultures, each adapted to different environments. They heard stories of human explorers climbing the highest mountains and diving into the deepest oceans. As the meeting ended, Jai-Ho walked with Emily to the station's observation deck. They looked out at the stars together. I think, Jai-Ho said carefully, that we have much to learn from each other. The galaxy is clearly more complex than we thought. Emily nodded. Every species has its strengths. The Mukuns are incredible in your own way. Perhaps together we can accomplish even more. As they watched their ships floating in space, both leaders knew this was just the beginning. The Mukuns had found equals they never expected, and the humans had found allies who understood what it meant to come from a challenging world. A new chapter in galactic history was about to begin. The emergency alarm sounded through the Eternal Dawn's corridors. Captain Jai-Ho Park rushed to the bridge, where Hei-Yun was analyzing data from a nearby solar system. Report, Jai-Ho ordered as he reached his command station. A massive solar storm is approaching the silicon-based colony on planet K317, Hei-Yun explained. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel. The radiation levels will be lethal within 6 hours. Commander Emily Martinez's face appeared on the main screen. The human ship Pioneer had stayed with the Mukun fleet after their first meeting. We've detected the storm too. How can we help? Du Yun Kim studied the readings with concern. The radiation levels are too high. Even Mukun protection suits won't last long enough to evacuate the colony. The silicon-based beings of K317 were peaceful creatures who had lived under the Mukun Empire's protection for decades. Their crystalline bodies were beautiful but fragile. They needed help to survive this crisis. We cannot reach them in time, Jai-Ho said with frustration. Our strongest ships would take 8 hours to arrive. We can help, Emily said firmly. Humans have excellent radiation resistance. Our bodies can repair radiation damage quickly, and our ships have special shielding. The Mukuns looked at each other with surprise. Hei-Yun checked her readings again. The radiation levels would kill most species within minutes. Even Mukuns can only survive brief exposure. Trust us, Emily replied. The Pioneer can reach the colony in 3 hours. We've handled worse conditions during solar research missions. Jai-Ho considered the option. The humans had already shown amazing abilities, but this seemed impossible. Still, they had no other choice. Very well. The Eternal Dawn will provide support from a safe distance. The next 3 hours passed slowly. The Pioneer reached the colony first, entering the radiation zone that made the Mukan ship's warning systems flash red. Through the communication link, they watched as human crew members walked out onto the planet's surface wearing only light protective suits. They moved quickly, helping the silicon beings into transport containers. Their radiation exposure is far beyond safe levels, Hei-Yun reported, watching her instruments. But their vital signs are stable. They're actually adapting to the radiation. The evacuation continued as the storm grew stronger. The humans worked tirelessly, making trip after trip to save the colonists. Their movements stayed strong and steady, even as the radiation increased to levels that would have killed most species instantly. The last group is aboard, Emily reported after 4 hours. Her voice sounded tired but clear. All colonists are safe. The Pioneer moved away from the planet just as the solar storm hit with full force. When they reached safe space, medical teams checked the human crew members. To everyone's amazement, their bodies were already healing the radiation damage. How is this possible? Jaiho asked as he met with Emily later. Our medical knowledge suggested no species could survive such exposure. Emily smiled tiredly. Humans evolved with natural radiation on Earth. Our cells can repair radiation damage better than most species. We've improved this ability through generations of space travel. The silicon colonists gathered to thank their rescuers. Their crystalline bodies sparkled as they performed their traditional gratitude dance. The Mukan crew watched with new respect as the humans accepted the thanks modestly. Today has taught us something important, Jaiho announced to both crews. True strength isn't just about physical power. It's about adapting and enduring when others cannot. He looked at the humans with newfound respect. You have shown us a different kind of strength. The Eternal Dawn and Pioneer traveled together to take the colonists to their new home. Both crews knew that this crisis had changed their relationship forever. The humans had proven themselves not just equal to the Mukans, but capable of things even the proud Deathworlders could not do. Medical Officer Sun Mi Kang sat in her office aboard the Eternal Dawn, studying the human medical records that Commander Martinez had shared. Each page revealed something new and surprising about these strange beings from Earth. Captain, you need to see this, Sun Mi called as Jaiho Park entered the medical bay for his daily report. She pointed to her screen, where a collection of human injury reports was displayed. What am I looking at? Jaiho asked, leaning closer to see the details. These are recovery records from human space missions, Sun Mi explained. This one shows a human who survived in space without a suit for nearly 2 minutes. This other one lived through a fall that would kill even a Mukan. And here, she pointed to another file, a human who recovered from losing nearly half their blood. Jaiho's eyes widened as he read through the cases. How is this possible? They look so fragile. Hei-Yun Lee joined them, carrying more data from her research. It's their adaptability, Captain. Humans don't just survive. They get stronger from challenges. Their bones heal denser after breaks. Their muscles grow stronger after damage. Even their minds adapt to learn from every difficulty. On the main screen, they watched recordings from Earth's history. Humans living in freezing places where even Mukans would struggle. Others thriving in deserts that would dry out most species. Some diving deep underwater or climbing to heights where the air was too thin to breathe. Their planet tested them in every way possible, Sun Mi said with growing excitement. Instead of developing one strong defense like our thick skin and muscles, they developed the ability to adapt to anything. The door opened, and Emily Martinez walked in with her medical officer. They had been invited to share more information about human physiology. Emily noticed the Earth records on the screen. Ah, you're studying our survival records, she said. Those are just the official cases. There are many more amazing stories of human survival. Sun Mi turned to Emily with curiosity. Your bodies seem to ignore what we thought were universal limits. How do you explain this? Emily sat down and thought for a moment. Earth never gave us an easy path. When it was cold, we learned to create heat. When food was scarce, our bodies learned to store energy better. When we faced dangers, we adapted or found new solutions. But other species evolved to be perfect for their environments. He-Yun noted. Why didn't humans? Because our environment kept changing, Emily explained. Earth has gone through many climate changes. Our ancestors had to survive in different conditions. Those who could adapt lived. Those who couldn't, didn't. Jaiho thought about this new information. The Mukans had evolved to be strong because their world demanded strength. But humans had evolved to be adaptable because their world never stopped challenging them in new ways. Here's something interesting, Sun Mai said, pointing to new data. Human children are born very weak, but they can learn any skill. Human muscles are not the strongest, but they can work longer than any other species. Their skin isn't the toughest, but it heals incredibly fast. As they studied more records, the Mukans began to understand. Humans were not powerful in the same way as Mukans, but they had something perhaps more valuable. The ability to face any challenge and become stronger from it. We thought being the Deathworlder meant being the strongest, Jaiho said finally. But you've shown us it can also mean being the most adaptable. Perhaps this is why your species has spread so far across space in such a short time. The humans and Mukans continued sharing information, each learning more about how different paths of evolution had created two kinds of survivors. Both were strong in their own ways, and together they could be even stronger. Lieutenant Taiwan Choi stood at his tactical station, watching multiple red dots appear on the space map. Ships from the outer rim were entering both human and Mukan space. These ships belonged to the Ravagers, a species known for attacking and stealing from others. Captain, we have confirmed 18 Ravager ships. Taiwan reported to Captain Jo. They are attacking both our colonies and human settlements. The Eternal Dawn's bridge was busy with activity. Commander Martinez's face appeared on the main screen. Her ship, the Pioneer, was defending a human mining colony nearby. The Ravagers are using a new attack pattern, Emily said. They're targeting our communication systems first. 3 human colonies have already lost contact. Jaiho nodded grimly. They're doing the same to our colonies. Traditional Mukan tactics won't work if we can't coordinate our ships. Then let's try something new, Emily suggested. Lieutenant Taiwan, could you work with our tactical officer? Humans have experience fighting without central communication. Taiwan moved to a separate communication channel with the human tactical team. He listened as they explained an old Earth battle technique called mission command. Each ship would understand the main goal but could make its own decisions about how to achieve it. It's different from Mukan military structure, Taiwan told Captain Jio. But it could work. Their idea is to split our fleet into small, independent groups. Each group chooses its own targets but follows the overall plan. Jaiho considered this idea. Mukans preferred strict order and central control in battle, but their current tactics weren't working against the Ravagers' new strategy. Very well, Jaiho decided. Coordinate with the Pioneer. Let's show these Ravagers what humans and Mukans can do together. The next few hours changed space warfare forever. Human ships moved quickly and unpredictably, drawing Ravager ships into traps. Then Mukan ships would appear with their powerful weapons, striking the confused enemies. When the Ravagers tried to cut communication, each ship already knew what to do. Taiwan watched in amazement as human ships performed maneuvers he had never seen before. They used gravity and solar winds in clever ways, moving in patterns that seemed chaotic, but were actually carefully planned. Their ships are entering the asteroid field, Taiwan reported, watching a group of Ravagers flee from a human Mukan attack group. They think we won't follow, Emily said over the command channel. But they don't know humans are excellent at flying in tight spaces. Shall we show them? Captain Jio. The combined fleet chased the Ravagers through the asteroid field. Human pilots guided their ships through impossible gaps between rocks. Nukan ships provided covering fire, their powerful weapons clearing paths when needed. After 6 hours of battle, the remaining Ravager ships fled back to the Outer Rim. The human Nukan fleet had not lost a single ship, though many had taken damage. On the Eternal Dawn's bridge, Taiwan was busy writing a new tactical manual. It combined Nukan strength with human adaptability. He had learned that victory didn't always come from having the most power. Sometimes it came from being able to change and adapt quickly. "Lieutenant," Captain Jaiho said, looking at the battle reports, "I want you to work with the human tactical officers to develop more combined strategies. Today proved that we are stronger together than apart." The crews of both fleets celebrated their victory, but more importantly, they had learned to trust each other in battle. Humans had shown they could match Nukan's strength with their quick thinking and adaptability. The Nukans had shown they could learn new ways of fighting alongside their human allies. A new era of space warfare had begun, and the Ravagers had learned a costly lesson. Never underestimate the combined power of two Deathworld species. Chief Historian Yunho Park sat in the great library of the Nukan capital ship, surrounded by displays showing Earth's history. After the battle with the Ravagers, the Nukan Empire had asked him to study how humans became so adaptable. What he discovered changed everything the Nukans thought they knew about evolution. "The key is in how they hunted," Yunho explained to Captain Jaiho and Commander Martinez during his presentation. While Nukans evolved from ambush predators who relied on strength, humans were persistence hunters. The screen showed ancient human hunters following animals under a hot sun. The animals would run away, but the humans kept walking, following their tracks hour after hour. "I don't understand," Jaiho said. "How could slow pursuit be effective against fast prey?" Emily smiled. "Most animals can run faster than humans, but they can't run for long. They need to rest and cool down. Humans can keep moving for hours or even days. We don't tire easily, and we can cool ourselves by sweating." Yunho nodded and changed the display. This hunting style shaped everything about human evolution. Their bodies developed amazing endurance. They learned to think ahead and predict where prey would go. They became experts at reading tracks and signs in nature. The screens showed more images from Earth's history: humans crossing vast deserts, climbing high mountains, swimming across dangerous seas, building shelters in frozen lands and steaming jungles. Unlike Nukans, who became perfectly adapted to one harsh environment, humans became adapters, Yunho continued. They developed bodies that could survive almost anywhere and minds that could solve any problem. He showed records of human space exploration next. Even their approach to space travel was different. While we Nukans built stronger ships to overpower space's dangers, humans found clever ways to work with space's challenges. "Our bodies are like fortresses," Jaiho said thoughtfully, "built to withstand anything. But human bodies are more like shapeshifters, always changing to match their environment." "Exactly," Emily agreed. "We don't try to be the strongest. We focus on lasting the longest. Human cells repair themselves quickly. Our minds stay calm in danger. We can eat almost any food and survive in almost any gravity." Yunho moved to his most important discovery. The real advantage humans have is their ability to learn from everything. Each challenge makes them stronger. Each problem teaches them something new. Even failure helps them improve. The presentation showed how humans had survived disasters that should have destroyed them. Diseases, wars, natural disasters. After each one, humans came back stronger and smarter than before. "This is why humans and Nukans work so well together," Yunho concluded. "Nukan strength creates opportunities, and human adaptability finds new ways to use that strength. Together, we can face any challenge." Jaiho stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. "For generations, we thought being from a death world meant being the strongest. But humans showed us that survival takes many forms." "Strength and adaptability," Emily said, joining him at the window. Both are needed for life among the stars. Yunho saved his research findings, knowing they would change how the Mukan Empire saw itself and its place in the galaxy. They were no longer alone as Deathworld survivors, but they had found something better. True partners in the challenge of space exploration. Captain Jaiho Park stood before the Mukan High Council in their great meeting hall. The room's high ceiling showed moving images of stars and galaxies. All 12 council members sat in their elevated seats, looking down at him. Behind him stood Commander Emily Martinez, the first human ever invited to speak to the council. Honored council members, Jaiho began, his voice clear and strong. 3 months ago, we thought we were alone as survivors of a death world. We were proud of our strength and saw ourselves as protectors of weaker species. Today, I stand here to tell you we were wrong. The council members whispered among themselves. The head counselor, an older Mukan with battle scars from ancient wars, raised his hand for silence. Explain, Captain Park, the head counselor said. How were we wrong? Jaiho gestured to Emily to step forward. The humans have taught us that strength comes in many forms. While we focused on becoming physically powerful, they evolved to be incredibly adaptable. Their ways of surviving are different from ours, but no less effective. He showed recordings from the recent battle with the Ravagers. The council watched as human and Mukan ships worked together in perfect harmony. They saw humans walking in radiation that would kill most species. They watched recordings of humans living in environments that even Mukans found challenging. Our empire has always protected other species because we thought they were too weak to protect themselves, Jaiho continued. But humans show us that everyone has their own kind of strength. What we see as weakness might be strength in a different form. Emily stepped forward when invited to speak. Humans and Mukans are different, but we both understand what it means to come from a challenging world. Together, we can do more than either of us could do alone. The head counselor leaned forward. You propose changes to our empire's basic principles that have guided us for centuries. Yes, Jaiho said firmly. Instead of seeing ourselves as protectors of weaker species, we should be partners with all species. Each brings their own strengths. The humans have shown us this truth. He showed more images. Human scientists working with Mukan engineers to design better ships. Human doctors sharing their knowledge of rapid healing. Mukan warriors learning new fighting styles from human teachers. Our two species together have already accomplished amazing things, Jaiho said. Imagine what we could achieve if we approached all species this way, looking for their unique strengths instead of seeing only their differences from us. The council chamber fell silent as the members considered this idea. Finally, the head counselor stood up. His ancient armor gleamed in the starlight from above. Captain Park, Commander Martinez, he said slowly, you have shown us a new path. The Mukan Empire has always adapted when needed. That is how we survived and grew strong. Perhaps it is time for us to adapt again. The council voted unanimously to create a new alliance with Earth. They also agreed to review their relationships with all other species, looking for strengths they might have missed before. As Jaiho and Emily left the council chamber, they stopped to look at the huge space map showing all known worlds. A new era begins, Jaiho said quietly. Not of protectors and protected, but of equals working together. Emily nodded. That's how humanity has always grown stronger, by working together and learning from each other. Now we can do the same thing among the stars. The great ships of the Mukan fleet and the human space force floated together above the capital planet. They were no longer the only Deathworlders, but they had found something better. True allies in the endless challenge of space exploration.